The world has never seen an industrial and intelligence revolutions of this scale. Here is what I can tell you. Tomorrow's trillion-dollar value disruptors will bend others to their will, and some of them will go on to dominate the world like no company has ever done before. Companies will become more powerful than many nations. And over the next decade, several companies that today seem unbeatable will vanish. They will disappear, not because they lacked resources, but because they could simply not compete at the pace and scale needed. And I will say that same stands true for our educational institutions. Because the educational institutions too must transform. They must move at the speed of change, drive cutting-edge research, and yet to be accountable the real-world impact. This is no longer about producing brilliant graduates. It is about producing brilliant patriots. That graduate armed with ideas, discipline, and the will to make India unshakable. The brutal truth is when knowledge is a commodity, when skills can be downloaded, and when AI can crack engineering problems in seconds, we must ask, what is the future value of an engineering or technical degree? How should we prepare? Because the lifespan of our technical knowledge has collapsed from years to months, maybe even weeks. This means the gap between academic theory and industry reality is widening faster than ever before. And the new currency is the abundance. Abundance of our bold ideas. Abundance of lightning speed adaptations. Abundance of our relentless reinventions. In this new round of battle, it is the most brilliant minds that India will need. And you, my dear professors, are the custodians of these minds. Minds trained on these very grounds, trained to think beyond the textbook, trained for rapid inventions, and trained to carry the courage of discovery as a national duty. While this is not a call to give up the heritage of our top institutions, it is indeed a call for designing a different future before it is too late. Let me now talk about the Indian corporates. And it begins with the honest admission that we in industry must share equal responsibility for the innovation deficit India faces. After all, we hire from these colleges, and the best among them are government funded. We stand on the shoulders of public institutions like ISRO, BARC, DRDO, ICMR, NCL, and many more. These have given us the inventions, breakthrough, and discoveries that form our launch pads. From ISRO's Chandrayaan to Aadhaar, from UPI to vaccine research, from freight corridors to our renewable grids, it is worth reflecting that it is the government that has built the foundation of our modern economy. And this model will not adequately sustain in the race we are entering. If India is to lead in the age of transformative technologies like advanced materials, biotechnology, deep tech, and many others, we must carry our share of the nation's innovations burden. Translated not into marketing slogans, but into the budget allocations, world-class laboratories, and risk capital. We must provide platforms where young minds can explore and even fail without fear. If we corporates do not step up, we will remain users of our foreign breakthroughs and never be the originators. This is a future that we cannot accept. So what is a possible path forward? If speed and scale are the defining challenges of our academic institutions, then the answer lies in blurring the lines between where education ends and where enterprise begins. In the industrial era, institutions and corporates operated in parallel lanes. Academia produced graduates. Industry consumed them. In the world we have now entered, victory will most often belong to the owners of IP, and nations will weaponize this IP. The governments controlling the IP distributions. Therefore, we must master partnerships that unite diverse stakeholders, enable seamless talent flow between labs and industry, and embed IP sharing and funding models that reward both groundbreaking research and rapid commercializations. And there are many examples to learn from. In Silicon Valley, Stanford's deep ties with a venture capital and industry have seeded tech companies from Google to Tesla with the startups and academia feeding each other's growth. In the case of a biotech synergy, the Boston-Cambridge cluster saw Moderna and its vaccines emerge directly from MIT and Harvard labs, which was then accelerated by corporate funding. Therefore, universities must push the boundaries of research and corporates must push the boundaries of executions. University must focus on breakthroughs and corporate must focus on scaling the breakthroughs. And together, we must create impact, not just in the markets, but in the very fabric of our Indian society. And so, let me propose some ideas. Together, we will create living laboratories here at IIT Kharagpur across high-impact sectors that reflect the very challenges India must lead in. First is a renewable energy. By 2030, India aims to lead the world in our renewables. At Adani, we are building the world's largest renewable energy park in Khavda in the Kutch districts of Gujarat. $30 gigawatt of capacity across 500 square kilometers. Imagine IIT KGP students co-developing AI-driven grid balancing solutions, real-time predictive maintenance, and sector-wide optimization tools. Second is ports and logistics. Adani Ports moves over 400 million tons of cargo annually. As the world's most integrated logistics player, even a single day delay can ripple through supply chains. IIT KGP talent can design machine learning-led bulk scheduling, autonomous container handling, and a real-time logistics optimization systems. Third is an airport and a smart mobility. Adani Airports handles 100 million passengers a year across 7 of India's busiest hubs. This complex ecosystems spans transport, security, energy, and a passenger's experience. IIT KGP engineers could pioneer real-time crowd predictions, intelligent baggage handling, and IoT-enabled operations to set a new benchmarks. Building on these initiatives, we are launching the annual Adani IIT Platinum Jubilee Changemakers Fellowships coordinated by IIT Kharagpur and covering every IIT. His mission is to channel the nation's top talent into high-impact projects that advance national priorities. This framework creates a playbook for any major corporates to partner effectively with our top institutions. And together, we can accelerate India's sheer scale of talent into a force that in a decade can be a parallel to Silicon Valley. Now let me address the student in this audience, many of whom may be wondering, am I not too young to really make a difference? And the best way I can answer is tell you my own story, and hopefully you will have a few takeaways. My dear young friends, it was 1978, and as I walk onto the Ahmedabad railway platforms, awaiting the Gujarat mail to take me to Mumbai, I held 2 tickets in my hands. In one hand was a second-class tickets bought after 30 minutes in a crowded station queue. In the other hand was my ticket to freedom. At 16 years of age, like many of you, I too stood at a crossing. One track lead to the predictable safety of school, the other to the vast unknown of the city of Mumbai. But in my heart, there was a single unshakable belief that the train I was about to board was not just taking me to freedom in Mumbai, it was giving me the freedom we had overtaken everybody and built India's largest trading house. We then took it public. That was the birth of Adani Enterprises. I had turned 32. But success has its own way of revealing that you lack, and I realized that while I was a very good trader, I did not have an anchor. Without real assets in the real economy, I had no real foundations. One market crash and I could be swept away. That is when the third operating philosophy became clear to me. You cannot build your empire on a ground you do not own. And this took me to Mundra. That was to become my karma bhumi. When I first announced my intentions to build a port in Mundra, most people thought I had lost my mind. Not just because I had never laid a single brick in my life, but because I chose to build the port within one of India's largest marshlands. I still recall that when I presented the idea, some of the bankers laughed and asked, Mr. Adani, how do you expect us to finance land that is under the water? And they were not wrong. Mundra had no access, no industries, no precedent. And a fast forward, and in less than 3 decades, Mundra became a continental scale logistics engine, moving an astonishing 250 billion metric tons of cargo every year. And today, we run one of the world's largest integrated logistics networks, made up of our 21 national and international ports, rail networks, inland container depots, warehouses, and fulfillment centers. Thereafter, from ports, we moved into energy, and starting in 2007, we built the world's largest single-location coal-based private power plant of 4,200 megawatts. And along with it, we also built India's first 1,000 kilometers high voltage DC transmission systems. Then we took over Mumbai's distribution network and followed it by building the world's largest solar plant of that time, 770 megawatt, all in just 9 months. And we continued expanding. Today, in less than 2 decades, our energy portfolios spans generation, transmission, distribution, LNG, LPG, city gas distributions, solar panel and wind turbines manufacturing, EV charging, batteries, hydrogen, and we are building at Khavda the world's largest hybrid renewable energy park over an area 5 times the size of Paris. Thereafter, from the gateways to the oceans and gateways to the deserts, we turn to the gateways of the skies of India. And 6 years ago, we stepped into airport business. Today, we own the largest fleet of airports, controlled by any single entity anywhere in the world. We move 100 million passengers annually, managing 28% of India's air passengers, and we also manage 40% of our India's air cargo. We are commissioning the Navi Mumbai airport later this year, which when complete will handle another 90 million passengers. And around each airport, we are creating urban ecosystems where air travel will merge seamlessly with a commerce, industries, retail, hospitality, and a residential living. No company has ever conceptualized such an integrated ecosystem at this scale. My young friends, I talk about Mundra, Khavda, our airports, because they were born not just from my spirit of entrepreneurship, but also from my optimisms that the India growth story is unstoppable. I have learned that any visionary private sector group can achieve scale only when it moves in a steps with the policies of a visionary government. And over the past decade, this mutual belief, the government's belief in India's potential, and my belief in the government policies gave us the runway to build at a pace that has made us India's largest infrastructure company. My dear students, the same is even more true for you. If you align your ambitions with India's rise, the peak of your careers will unfold alongside the peak of India's power. By 2050, when you are in your prime, you will be part of a $25 trillion Indian economy, shaping global debates, writing the rules, and setting the pace for the future. No other nation offers its youth an opportunity of this scale. Therefore, I always say there has never been a better time to be an Indian. And so, my dear friends, as I prepare to close,